Hello there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny and today we're going to be reviewing Steel Bonnets Whisky review. I have a little bit of a bone to pick with this whiskey because to be honest I think it's very much overpriced, and in this video I'll tell you why, as well as how it actually tastes. And if you're actually a fan of Monkey Shoulder, you'll probably be quite interested in the flavour of this whiskey. Let's start out with the story, because Steel Bonnet Whisky is titled after the backstory of the border reivers who raided between the British and Scottish borders, pillaging villages and stealing livestock. The word reiver literally translates to rob, and it was a very bloody and chaotic time in history. These reivers were essentially family-formed clans with no belonging to any kingdom. They just raided everyone on either side of the border. The idea of Steel Bonnets Whisky is to blend both Scottish and English whiskies together to make a unique blend. Now, considering the whiskey has smoky ash and sweet vanilla notes, almost like a contrasting war between two different flavours, I'd say that the story is actually represented rather well in the whiskey. However, the whiskey itself leaves much to be desired, and let's just get into this review. So as you guys can see, it's got a beautiful gold colour. I don't think this has been coloured at all. I think this is its natural colour. And obviously this is blended whiskey between England and Scotland. And if we have a look on the nose here, there is a very, very, very subtle smokiness to this whiskey. And it's actually got a sweet sort of smell. Compared to Monkey Shoulder, it's more malty. That's immediately kind of what I think of. And it's got this fruitiness to it. It's very fruity, very sweet, sort of like honeysuckle smell almost. The smokiness you kind of will get when you taste this whiskey. So if you have a look on the palate here. You get this sweet fruitiness, but it's got this really interesting aftertaste actually, which is kind of like if you ever had a smoky whiskey or like sat at a bonfire, and you kind of get that sort of ashy smell taste in your mouth, and it's kind of got an aftertaste of that. So imagine having a smoky whiskey and then the aftertaste is essentially that, with a little bit of, I don't know, like when you eat a plant and it's got that sort of vegetable sort of taste after. I don't really know how you describe it, but a little bit of that as well, though I don't know if you'd be able to detect that. It's interesting. I'd say it's more complex than Monkey Shoulder, however it's very similar. It's sweeter than Monkey Shoulder and more maltiness to it, with especially on the nose. Malt and smoke are really the dominant flavours here, and I'd definitely say the sweetness comes through in vanilla. Now in terms of how old this whiskey is, it's not very helpful. The dram itself only says where it's from. It doesn't give you any idea about the age of the whiskey, and if you do Google it, you just get a giant history lesson about why they, the story behind the whiskey, but they don't mention where any of the blends are from, and what the age of any of them is. And I probably hazard a guess at 3 years, to be honest. That's why it doesn't have an age statement, because you can't put an age statement on a whiskey if it's, at least in the UK, if it's under 3 years. So I think that's probably the case there. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. The whiskey does taste good. It's just not £65 good. And you can get, oh god, I could name you a bunch of other whiskies that you could get for even cheaper than this. While this is still an experience, it's not 65. You just can't, like, if you pay £65 for something, it's very hard to be like, oh yeah, this is a really good whiskey. It's just because it's so expensive. It's not to say it's a bad whiskey. I feel like not many whiskies are necessarily bad. It's just priced so stupidly, and I think that really makes me kind of hate it in a way, which is quite unfair. I think, the packaging looks amazing, and they've clearly spent a lot of money, maybe the whole budget, on the packaging. And obviously this is the Lakes Distillery's first whiskey, and I'd love to like it. I actually own 5 foot square of land in the Lake District to help protect the natural environment there. And I like to go walking there a lot with my family, so I do have an attachment to the Lake District, and I'm kind of interested what else is going to come out of the Lakes Distillery. However, this, as a starting whiskey, blended with probably a Speyside in there, definitely gives me a familiarity with the taste of the whiskey, and maybe something that's gone into Monkey Shoulder as well, you know. But I can't recommend it for its price. You won't be disappointed if someone buys it for you and you taste it, you'll enjoy it. But I can't recommend you buying it for £65. To be honest, the first time I tried this whiskey was me and my fiance were walking through the lakes. This was a year ago when this whiskey was first released, and they were going around the tourist shops just handing out bottles. And the lady in the shop who was selling all the products there asked me, oh, I've got a whiskey, do you want to have a try? It's like locally made. And I was like, oh, really interesting. You know, I'm a tourist, I like local stuff. So I had a try. I kind of thought of Monkey Shoulder initially, but it had like a little bit more complexity to it, as I said. And then she told me the price. I was like, no, I don't really want to spend that. And then actually she said, oh, try mixing it with gingerbread liqueur. This liqueur she had. Obviously, I prefer to drink my whiskey straight, but I did. Obviously, it was free. So free alcohol, how could I say no? And I tried some. It was really good. Really enjoyable gingerbread liqueur from Pennington's, if you've ever heard of it. If you also like Kendall Mint Cake, the Kendall Mint Cake version is absolutely incredible. So I could recommend that to you. Put it with some vodka or something, and you will enjoy that if you like that kind of thing. But obviously, this is a whiskey review, and I'm going to start rating whiskies as I find them. And we're going to go for out of 10, and I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. It's way below average for the price, and the price really is what destroys this whiskey. It could be a good blend. I think they've spent too much money on marketing, and honestly, they just try to sell you on their story, which is on the website. And I like the story. I like the backstory of this whiskey, but it's all story and no bang, you know? Like, the whiskey itself, like, you can't encourage me to drink something purely by telling me a story about it, you know? It's got to be more than that. So 3 out of 10, very disappointed. I will try future things from this distillery, though, when they actually release their own batch and so on. But yeah, not a good start. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a whole playlist of other whiskey reviews linked below. It's pretty much my own opinion on what I like about whiskies, and we go into some details about my own journey of exploring them and so on. And my own personal stories with certain whiskies and why I love them so much. Or in this case, actually, this is the first kind of whiskey I was a bit disappointed in the channel. Yeah, unfortunately. I hope you guys enjoyed anyway. I'm going to be reviewing a lot more because obviously we can't leave the house right now. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.